All aboard!
Greetings, passengers. You're listening to Derailed. For your own safety, please avoid getting attached to any one topic, as the Derailed crew will most likely, as their name suggests, derail before you have your fill. When listening to Derailed, please keep your earbuds in and your speakers low, as we would rather not be responsible for anything we may say on this podcast. That goes doubly true for Harry. Pulling into the station now is Season 2, Episode 2. My name is Greg, and I will be joined by the train conductor, which is me. I don't know why I changed the script. The script had it laid out perfectly, and I fucked it up. And as always, I'm joined by Harry, the engineer, and Adash, the train student driver and formerly porter / janitor.
Oh,
how are you doing, boys?
He's on an internship right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to co-op.
I like to just
Don't hire
imagine.
me after my co-op is over, this train is derailing, motherfuckers.
I like to imagine like the train pulls into the station and there's like that student driver thing on the top of it.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, what does that even mean?
Bro?
He just has to push the thing forward. Everyone would be so nervous.
It's like student driver.
Maybe I could just wait for the next train. It's in 2 days. It's not too bad.
Yeah. I don't think there's any announcements. I do have to correct myself. In the past episode and also in like the trailer for this season, I did say 12 a.m. was it? No, I said 12 p.m.
Yeah, 12 p.m.
For when we post the podcast. It's actually 12 a.m. So, that was a little bit of a mislead, but it's whatever. But
And if I could have the floor for a bit, then I would like to I would like to apologize. I have made a severe and continuous lapse in my recording. I know what I have done was wrong, and that somebody should have checked me.
Wait, did you clear your throat before you started?
Yes.
No, that's wrong. You have to do the sigh. The sigh is how you start the apology video.
God damn it, I can't even get the apology video right.
Oh my god.
Okay, make an apology for the apology. I've made a severe and continuous error.
All right, and with that noted, we are looking for a new third.
Yeah, we're replacing the porter.
Putting up with you two, good luck.
We could just make ChatGPT the third and like input our.
True. Actually, true though.
But you'd have to pay for the premium where you don't get many interactions.
Inevitably, one day there's going to be a time where one of us isn't available for like an emergency recording. So that's going to be what happens for that day. We're going to have a ChatGPT be our third member for whenever that happens. So look forward to that.
Who the fuck is setting all that up?
Okay. Well, if I'm not the one that's away, me. But if I'm the one that's away, tough luck, boys. None of us work direct. Have you worked direct? You do work directly with ChatGPT, actually. So you should be the one that sets it up, actually.
Yeah.
Because I just use websites that use ChatGPT, but you would be the one that would know how to like train it and stuff.
I haven't done any of that directly, but I do. I mean, I know how to use it quite well, for reasons I will not disclose.
Okay.
No, you're not thinking of the right reasons, but
no, I think I am.
I knew those hundreds of fanfics that you were posting in the Discord weren't written by you. I was like, how is he doing this so fast?
Wait, this gives me an idea.
Oh no. All right. Well, let's go ahead and get to the first segment. The one one in charge of the intro segment this week is me. Floor is all yours, me. Okay, so
What the fuck?
I had a little bit of trouble sort of coming up with what I wanted to teach, just because, you know, the limitations of time, and also that we have no visual guides. So I am going to do something that's a little bit more general, and you're not going to walk away from this like able to do something new that you weren't able to do before. But it's more of just like a sort of introduction on a concept that I might expand on in the future if I get teachable moments again. The teachable moment that I'm doing this week is just based on music, kind of in general. I am a composer, so it is sort of oriented in that direction, but I just wanted to talk a little bit about music and then like demonstrate some cool / interesting things about how music works, because I do think it's something that's not understood super well by the common folk. Not that you guys are the common folk, but this is not just for you guys, it's more of just like people in general. So Harry might like fully like understand everything that I'm about to talk about and not learn anything from this, but I think it's just a sort of cool experiment and look into this. So okay, so I feel that people already have a pretty good understanding about the nature of how art can evolve and how unique and original it can be. What I feel like people understand less is the rules of music in art, which there are actually a lot. I think a lot of people sort of think about art as separate from a lot of those technical things you sort of work on in school and stuff, like in terms of math and science and the hard laws and rules that there are, mostly hard laws and rules that there are for those subjects. So I think like art works in a pretty similar way, actually, at least music does. I can't really speak about the other forms of art. I do know narratives work like this, like storytelling. So the way I'm going to present this is I kind of, and this is how I actually present it to my students as well when I teach violin. But I like to think about all those elements of how you create music, both instrumental, but just in composition and in music in general, as like tools. And you use these tools in different ways to create a product and also to shape that product in different ways. And each tool has its own purpose and sort of different ways in which you can use it. Musical tools can change a lot based on the genre of music that you're working within. So sometimes it's like you might use a tool one way for like classical music, but in like jazz or fiddle or like rock music or pop music, it's like that tool is still used, but on like in such a completely different way that it's almost unrecognizable as the same tool. And then some tools are more important in different genres and less important in different genres. So my whole thing is I don't want to actually talk about any genres specifically today, or even just how the tool should be used. That might be something I do in the future. So instead, I'm just going to tell you what the tools are and then just show you examples of those tools. And then perhaps in the future, we may revisit and then see how those tools can create different genres of music. So the tools, there's a lot, and we're not going to talk about all of them because they get extremely complex. We're just going to talk about like the really basic building blocks of music, which are pitch, rhythm, harmony, and dynamic. And I think Harry already knows what all of those are, but I'll sort of, you probably know what most of them are too. So I'll go through and describe them a little bit more in depth for, you know, just in case any listener listens to this.
I'm not gonna lie, when you were mentioning tools, I didn't think this is what you were talking about. I was like, what are these tools?
When we talk about these tools, they get a lot more complex than maybe what you would originally think that they could be. And I'm going to show you some cool things you can do with them that you might not have thought about before. Let's get started. So the first thing we're going to do is what I'm going to do is I created a piece in which the only distinct factor involved is pitch. That's technically untrue, actually, because there's a lot of other elements involved in this example, but those elements are not the ones that we're talking about today. Those are the ones that are so complex that, you know, it's not something that any normal person would think about just when listening to music. So we don't need to worry about those yet, but in terms of those four categories, the only one that this example is going to have is pitch, and you will see very quickly how that works. Is that quiet?
It's quiet.
No, it's pretty.
we're just building things totally from ground up, and we're just going to start layering more and more elements and using more and more tools to enhance this. So just think we're starting from like the most bland possible beginning, and then we're going to just start changing things in order to make it more interesting. Pitch just refers to the frequency at which a note is vibrating, if you want the scientific explanation. But the layman version of that is just it's how high or low a note is. So all you really need to do is hear how the note is being played and how it's changing in either direction, whether it's going up or down, and sometimes it stays the same. That's the thing that you're trying to track here. So just I'll play it again, but just listen for the pitch and try to sort of identify the movement that's happening, and that's kind of all you need to do. So let me try that again.
I'm actually terrible at this.
Musicians who are learning instruments and stuff, it's very easy for them to get super hyper fixated on getting notes correct. But it's like it is important to get the note right and to get the intonation, which is just how close you are to the correct pitch, correct. But if everything else is lousy and just your pitch is good, then you're still not, accurately playing the music, because there's so many other elements that turn it from just a bunch of notes on a page to
I feel like
art.
Pitch is the part I struggle with, though. Like if I'm just like listening to a piece and I'm trying to emulate it, like rhythm and everything else is like, I guess if you listen to enough music and if you've been trained a bit, it's like, for me it's not that hard. Like I can tell what I'm doing wrong if I'm playing a piece and I'm getting the other parts wrong. But pitch, I just like when I listen to a song and I try to play it, like I can never get the right fucking note.
Yeah. Well, so what you're talking about is like pitch relativity, which is like understanding how to find pitches based on your understanding of where the pitches are on your instrument, which is it's actually technically a different skill than just understanding pitches on its own. I do think pitch is one of those things that from a outside standpoint, someone who has zero musical training probably thinks is one of the hardest parts. But it's like if you are super dedicated to learning an instrument, it actually ends up being one of the easier things, at least in terms of being able to play the correct pitches, because that actually just comes from reading comprehension and just becoming better at reading music. And then even like being able to listen to something and emulate it is somewhat the same in terms of that's a skill that you develop pretty quickly if you have official musical training. So it's actually not super difficult. But of course,
I could afford
that
your
is
rights, Greg.
Well, it is based on the instrument, because I say that, but like even like on violin, like you can go 7 years of learning and still have trouble getting the right pitches. But from there, it's not a case of you don't know where the pitch is. In that case, it's just because intonation is so ridiculously difficult. Usually, musicians, when they have official training, at least just in terms of being able to replicate something in like singing, usually is something that comes within just a few years of a lot of consistent practice. Okay, so that's pitch, and then we will now move on to the other big one that everyone knows is rhythm. And so for those who don't know, rhythm is the metric of time in music. But something that's considered a little bit less is that it's also a metric of consistency. So I put in some analogies here. If you think about pitch as the letters that make up a word, then you can think about rhythm as the spacing of those letters, as well as the existence of punctuation, spaces, indents, and those sort of things. So it's like if you tried to read a sentence in which the spacing was completely randomized, then it would be pretty much completely illegible nonsense, even from like a reading point of view. It would take so much work to unscramble that in your head. Okay, so I'm going to now add the element of rhythm to that excerpt. So I'll play a little bit of the first one more time just so you can remember it, and then I'm going to play the version of it that I just inject a little bit of rhythm in. It's all the exact same notes for the most part, but I just changed the length and the timing of some of the notes. So this is the pitch.
This song sounds like something that'd be in the level 1 book for keyboard. It's all just minute notes, quarter notes.
Right, yeah. And then now we add a little bit of rhythm in there. So it's not like insanely interesting now or anything, but it is like a huge step up from the previous version, just because, you know, you can actually track some sort of narrative through the song now. It's no longer just flat. Like you can actually see where the highs and lows of where the music is leading you. So the combined elements of pitch and rhythm, as well as a few other smaller factors, is what creates what's known as melody. So when you hear the term melody, this is what they're describing is it's the combination of pitch and rhythm. And a melody is sort of the key elements that most people understand about music. So usually that's all you need for someone to recognize something, but that's definitely not all you need for to turn something into like actually good music, because obviously, you know, this sounds better than the pitch version, but it doesn't sound good. It's still like really like beginner week one pianist is like sitting on a chair playing this in the recital with one finger, like sort of song. So it's we're not there yet. Which is where we introduce the next element, which is harmony. So harmony is, personally, this is like my favorite tool to use, because harmony is crazy, and we will not even have remotely enough time to get into just how crazily complex harmony is. The basic idea of what harmony is it's the underlying and overlying elements that you add to a melody.
I thought it
or
was
to another harmony.
Most famous stripper at the strip club, but
no, that's I
Melody.
can't think of any stripper names. Melody, there you go. Yeah, no, Harmony is the backup stripper. Like she's the one in the back who's not super attractive, but like she's there to just like enhance the Melody who's on the main stripper pole. This wasn't the analogy I had written in, but I think it was.
That's a good one though. That actually
well, yeah, so I think you get the idea. Harmony is there to not take the presence from the main melody. It's there to enhance the melody. And I should put an asterisk on everything I'm saying, usually, because the way art works is anything can just be changed just because you want to. So technically that doesn't have to apply the way that I just said it. But like, if we're talking about modern music and even like old classical music, like 98% of music follows these rules. So we're just going to act like this is the law, even if it's not, you know, exactly necessary. I'm going to go ahead and add harmony to the excerpt. And as you're listening to this, just notice how the main melody is still the thing that comes through most. And it's still the thing that your ear picks up primarily, even though that the added notes are the same volume as the original melody. And we're going to go through a few steps of this because you can add a lot of different harmonies. So the first one I'm going to add is just one accompanying harmony under the main melody that actually follows the exact same rhythm as the melody, and just has different pitches. So this is that.
Sorry, what was that again? What was
that? So that's just adding one harmony below the melody.
Okay.
So it makes it a little bit more interesting. The fact that it's the same rhythm doesn't lend itself to sort of anything really crazy in terms of contrast, but it does make it more interesting. And you do, or you should be hearing that main melody primarily over the other melody and not harmony first. Just because of the nature of the melodic line there. So now we're going to add another harmony, and this one is also below the melody, and it's also below the first harmony. And this one is not going to follow the same rhythm. This one has a different role. So this harmony the job of this harmony is to create what's called a tonal core for the listener. And this is usually done using the lowest voice in the harmony. So in layman's terms, that's the bass line. So I'm adding a bass line to this. So the bass line is still just harmony. It's just a version of harmony in which the accompaniment that is being used outlines the core of the key that you're using and also the chord progression that you're using, which we don't need to talk about what chord progression is yet. But the idea is it just takes you along that journey in a way that's a little bit easier to track. It doesn't require as much work from the listener's part. So this is the version of the harmony with the extra harmony line and the bass version of the harmony line.
You've hit the second level book.
Yeah, right, exactly. So this is what makes melodies a lot more than just a melody, because now it's actually interacting with something, and that something is that tonal chord. So if you have sort of a underlying tonal chord that the listener is registering, then you can have something play on top of that and create intrigue from the contrast of the two. Okay, so we added 2 lower voices, and now finally we're gonna wrap up the harmony by adding a higher voice. And typically this is actually a bad idea when it comes to orchestration, which is, just putting together an ensemble of different sounds. Usually you don't want something higher than the melody, because human ears will hear the higher registers more than the other registers. So usually you don't want to actually cross voices, it's called, and put something above the melody. But there are exceptions to everything. And in this case, putting something above the melody works if you give it enough contrast from what the melody is, both in terms of the pitch and in terms of the rhythm. So the rhythm of this is very different from what's going on in the melody. And then, what would help also is if I texturize it differently by assigning it to an instrument that is a little softer. And if I used dynamic, which is the next category, to make it a little softer. But for now, we're just going to use the tools of rhythm to help it stand out a little bit less. So you should still hear the main melody primarily. You will hear definitely a pretty present higher voice on top of that. And I should add, this is definitely not playable on the piano. This is just
No
an
shit.
exercise in exploration of voicing, because that would have taken 3 hands right
Yeah,
there.
I know.
Yeah. Okay, so things are getting pretty packed in the general sort of sphere of where this song is happening now. So the last core element we're going to add is dynamic. Dynamic is a tool that can be used for shaping melodies, changing tone colors, and for organizing voices in an ensemble. And it does do all 3 of those things. So it's a common misconception that dynamic is volume. That's just incorrect. That is misinformation if you've heard that before. Dynamic is not volume. It is a expression text. That's what it is. It describes how the music is supposed to be played. And usually you will see things like piano, forte, those sort of things. And what those mean is like large and soft and like those types of descriptors. It doesn't mean loud and quiet. It's a very different thing. That's important to understand. So what I'm going to do, and this won't work super well because this is MIDI piano. This works much better if you have a real instrumentalist, because they can actually control the weight of every individual finger and the speed of how that works. So the dynamics don't fully come through here, but I added a little bit just to make it a little bit more interesting than the... So here's the back to difference. So it sounds a little bit nicer because it's less just bum 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 the entire time, with each note being the exact same velocity. So there's all the 4 elements, and by combining all of those, we've created a very standard, presentable, but ultimately plain piece. We have all the elements that turn a simple collection of notes into something that can be remembered and create some sort of impact, but we haven't used any of the other elements, so it still sounds kind of boring. But even ignoring all those extra elements, with the elements that we have, with those elements, we can create something very different, even within the same context. So what I did to demonstrate this is I kept all 3 of the other elements the same, but all I did was change a few pitches from the exact same piece, just to really throw off the character of what this piece is. Because you would maybe describe this as like a... It's like a pretty joyous, celebratory piece, you could say. So all I did was change 1 note slightly lower, and then a few notes to accompany that, and then watch what happens.
Well, this one from Christmas to Halloween, real quick.
Yeah. Yeah, So very, very little was changed in between those. I literally just cloned it and then changed like a few notes, but it creates like a very, very different vibe. And that's sort of the power of each of these elements, is that even the smaller elements that we didn't talk about can do that sort of thing. And that's where the variety comes from in music, is that, you know, you can have things that have the same tune, have the same melodies, have even the same harmonies, but if you just change enough elements, it's still a different song. It's not exactly the same just because it follows the same chord progression or has somewhat similar melodies and stuff, just because there's so many things that makes a song other than just pitch and rhythm. And then finally, I'm now going to change all the elements. So it's still the same tune for the most part, but I tweaked kind of everything just to make this a lot more interesting. So this is the final version of it. So, you know, you can make some pretty interesting things with just those really basic elements without even getting into the dozens and dozens of other things you can do to change to make things interesting. So at the end of the day, I just wanted to get this knowledge out there to demonstrate the many, many forms in which music can be created. I've heard the take, and this is kind of what inspired this, I've heard the take that because of the amount of notes in the musical scale and the limited number of rhythms available, there will eventually be a point where composers will not be able to create anything new. And I just wanted to demonstrate just how completely incorrect that is. Even if we just look at pitch and rhythm, which honestly speaking doesn't even reach 50% of what makes up any musical piece, the amount of possibilities you can create within the 12 tone set, outside of that set, with any combination of whole notes, half notes, quarter notes, eighth notes, 16 notes, 32nd notes, triplet versions of all of those, the dotted versions of all of those, the tied versions of any of those combined with another one of those, the rest versions of all of those, and then the difference in feeling between any of those units in different time signatures, the difference in feeling between any of those units in different key signatures, and the possibility for changing time and key signatures midway, and the never-ending methods of harmonizing those notes both in terms of tonal harmony, but also rhythmic contrast, and the constantly evolving nature of consonance and dissonance and how they can be combined and contrasted to create different textures and worlds. You get the point. To think that art in any form can run out of room to evolve is ridiculous, and music is no exception. I do want to get more into the more nuanced and cool tools that musicians have if we have the opportunity to do this again, and perhaps I will demonstrate how I use those tools in the music I create. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
Whoa.
Any questions?
My boy, really made a whole bop for this fucking...
Yeah, no, I mean, it was
moments.
very well done, but you are about double over time. That is the only issue.
I'll cut some things out, but this is going to be a fairly long episode. Harry, do you have anything to add?
Not really.
Fair enough.
Harry, the quiet kid in class.
I mean, there's not much to add. Homie out here is giving a masterclass on this shit.
That is true.
I just gotta make sure I checked my bank account and I didn't pay for anything.
Yeah, well, this was more of a pilot because I do teach at summer camp for music theory, so this was a little bit of a pilot for like that class, because usually that class I just make shit up on the day. If any of my students are listening to this, you didn't hear that. I always have things pre-planned several months in advance, but usually I just make things up on the day. I'm like, okay, I guess today I'm just going to teach them this thing. So yeah, I was like, I want to have a little bit more structure this time, hopefully. Okay, cool. Let's get to the main topic. The one in charge of the main segment this week is Adash. Adash, go ahead.
So the topic this week is your wildest future predictions. I let this be up to you guys in terms of format and everything. So you could have been as creative or as non-creative as you wanted. So I don't know if any of you like wrote stories or anything, but do you guys just have ideas or do you have like a different format?
I wrote a story.
Okay, yeah. That's
It is a Harry story.
Yeah, let's go. I don't think I need to say what I did.
Yeah.
Because I was thinking about like, oh wait, how should we format this? We didn't talk about that, and I was like, well, there's only one way I know how to format things when there's a
so story then.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I did want to, but things went a little hectic this week. So I have more ideas, but that's okay. We can
maybe
balance things out.
so maybe we get our stories out of the way, and then we just
Yeah.
have a general discussion about like the
Conversation,
common
yeah.
themes and stuff. Yeah.
Okay, so
I don't think there will be any common themes with mine into everyone.
Let's start with Greg.
I will say mine isn't like a comedy sketch. Mine's more serious this time because
Let's start with Harrison.
Okay.
Well, no, because last time I know that I did this, I kind of just like didn't really do the topic. So this time I was like, okay, I'm gonna do a story, but I'm actually going to try to follow the prompt this time to some level.
Yeah.
I can go first though. Do you want me to go first?
Okay,
How long is yours, Harry?
It's how many words is this guy? Not too long. It's probably a little longer than my eulogy.
Mine is 2,000 words, I think.
Jeez. Okay.
That's a lot.
Well then, everybody, grab your snacks, settle in, get a blanket.
Okay. This story is told in second person point of view.
Is that
brother? That's you.
Yeah. So just like try to put yourself in the shoes of the character.
Oh,
Okay.
God.
It's like reading
All right,
erotic
here we go.
hollow. I mean, what?
Wow.
All right, let me get myself in the mood for this. Here we go. You see the sun retreating below the brink of the horizon. On the other end of the sky, the bleak and pale moon peeks an eye out as it waits anxiously for its fiery partner to depart. You smell the scent of the air and feel the gentle touch of the breeze wrap around you. Right in front of you lies a familiar face. It's Ronald McDonald.
Okay.
Or at least,
All right. We're gonna have to stop right there.
He's so serious. I
believe me. No,
Why
trust,
did
trust,
I believe
trust,
him?
Trust my ass. Yo, what the fuck?
There's nothing unserious about Ronald McDonald. Or at least it's a statue made in his likeness. Ronald's luscious red lips and an uncanny smile fill you with anticipation.
Yo! Virgin erotica with a Ronald McDonald.
Ronald's luscious red lips and uncanny smile fill you with anticipation. An anticipation that can only be sated by Ronald's meat.
Okay,
That's
yep,
right.
all right.
No, that's right. You're here to get a burger. It's a burger.
Yes,
That's Ronald's meat.
yes, of course.
As you tear your eyes away from the bewitching eyes of the clown, you start to move towards the entrance of the McDonald's before once again halting in your tracks. There's a sign in front of you, a poster displayed on the front of the restaurant's glass exterior. It states, "The McRib is back." A sinking feeling fills you as you realize you're in the future. Any sign of hunger leaves you as your heart starts to beat rapidly, as if it's trying to escape your chest.
Doki doki.
Had this happened after you ate your McDonald's burger, it would have been a normal occurrence that needed no particular attention. But in this case, you can only attribute this dilemma to stress, in which case you may be in great peril. But now is not the time to worry about potential health concerns, no. You have to figure out what has changed. You don't know how you got here, but you know that you only have a few days to figure out how the world works before people start getting suspicious. If people suspect that you're someone who has accidentally time traveled from the past, they could socially oust you, or worse, not even care. As you run wildly down the street in search of information, you immediately notice an unusual occurrence. The street is tiny. That is to say, there's only one lane, and it is extremely narrow.
Because of this... Sorry, it's 2,000 words, so we gotta get through this, but all of this realization comes from the fact that the McRib is back?
Yes.
Okay, continue.
No further explanation needed. And because of this, the buildings, lots, foliage, and so on around the street are all much closer together, giving you a sense of claustrophobia. While wondering why this might be, you see two completely identical cars, if you can even call them that, they look more like carts, heading directly towards each other at full speed. Your heart rate launches even higher as you begin shouting expletives at the cars, hoping to get their attention so that they don't feel the impending doom of the inevitable crash that is about to happen. But to your surprise, the cars fly past each other, barely avoiding collision by just a few inches, and you even catch a glimpse of the people inside, who all appear to be in a state of slumber, including the person who's sitting in the driver's seat. Before you can collect yourself, you hear a voice behind you that causes you to jump. You new here? What awaits you when you turn around is a middle-aged man that can only be described as unkempt. He's wearing a pair of thin-rimmed glasses and baggy clothing that looks like it hasn't been washed in months. In fact, if it wasn't for the fact that he smells like milk and pistachios, you would have immediately assumed that he was homeless. The man gives you a grin and reaches into his fanny pack. You try to respond to him, but realize doing so would give you a distinct personality, and therefore make it impossible to be the subject of a first-person self-insert narrative, so you shut your mouth instead and just shrug. The man hands you a pair of glasses that look totally unremarkable.
I didn't know you worked for Genshin. It makes sense now.
The man hands you a pair of glasses that look totally unremarkable. I just happen to have a spare one of these lying around, so you can have it. Judging from that weirdly clean and neat state of your clothes, I'm assuming you're from one of those backwater third world countries like America. You put the glasses on and then gasp in shock as the world literally changes in front of you. Everything suddenly becomes much more vibrant, as if you're inside of a movie, and your senses are blasted with visual and audio clutter. The formerly mostly empty streets and roads are absolutely crowded with people and futuristic sports cars that are going extremely fast while somehow making very little noise. Each building is made up of complex and completely impossible architecture that seems to defy physics. Parts of buildings can even be seen to be moving and floating in midair. Taking a closer look at the crowds of people around you makes you gasp again as you realize that everyone is impossibly attractive, with the exception of a few people who are impossibly unattractive. Not only that, but many of them straight up don't look human. You see animal-human hybrids, amalgamations of skin and technology, and literal anime characters.
Nice.
You turn to the middle-aged pistachio man to ask what's going on, but in his place is a stern older woman who looks like the spitting image of a strict English teacher, complete with a 20th century dress, spectacles, and dark brown hair tied up in a bun. The lady gives you a small smile and says, "It can be overwhelming at first. Welcome to augmented reality. Besides a few countries where this tech isn't available, pretty much everyone lives here." You point at her questioningly as if to inquire if she's the guy from before. She nods and says, "Yes, you are correct. I am indeed wearing a 2-scale model of Anne Boleyn. You are wearing a female Joseph Stalin model in an officer's uniform."
What?
It's a model I made a long time ago called Mommy Josephina. She gives you an apologetic look. "I was going through a phase." You look down and realize you are indeed no longer yourself, but rather a scantily clad, busty Russian woman.
Oh my god.
Anyway, let me show you around. My name is Tom, by the way, but you can call me Anne. Anne grabs you by the hand and leads you down the sidewalk.
Oh, fuck you, Greg. Fuck you,
Several times.
Greg. So good, but I hate you.
Several times you think you are going to collide with someone or something, but they end up phasing right through you. It's a totally jarring experience, but at the same time, despite how realistic the virtual depiction of the world is, the fact that it is being delivered to you through glasses and only to your eyes and ears is creating a clear line that allows you to stay mostly grounded in reality. Anne seems to notice your expression and speaks up. "Well, it's only augmented reality after all. Most people just stay at home and use virtual reality systems to connect to worlds. Most of the people you see here are at their homes. There's basically zero benefit to using augmented, as all senses can be manifested and enhanced in virtual reality. The only people who go out in the real world and use augmented reality are hippies like me. Also, people who want to go out to eat will use augmented to stay connected to the virtual world. After all, eating is a pleasurable experience virtually, but doesn't actually satiate your real body. And most people certainly don't want to eat their own mediocre cooking." Anne proceeds to show you around the virtual world, acting as your future tour guide, though she doesn't realize that you're from the past, not from a third world country. You spot a poster on the wall that appears to be somehow animated despite being clearly paper. There's a crowd of people around it staring blankly at the poster without moving. Anne notices your gaze. "Oh, that's a movie poster. The people staring at it are watching the trailer. I think that's the poster for the new Batman movie. It's called The Beginning of Batman. I heard that the director is planning on making a trilogy. You move on to what looks like a public restroom, which strikes you as strange considering you're in a virtual world. Why would there be a bathroom in a virtual world? You convey this question to Anne through a few grunts and hand signs. So those are real restrooms for people in AR to use. She gestures for you to lift your glasses, and when you do, you see a much more dull building that correlates to the one in the virtual world. You let the glasses fall back over your eyes as Anne continues. The shift from her real-life, manly voice to her distinctly female one in the virtual world is a bit disconcerting, but you quickly get over it. It actually works for people in VR as well. It's pretty neat because normally VR disables the real-life motions of people inside of it, but upon entering a bathroom in VR, it lets people regain control of their body seamlessly and even projects the pathing to their home bathroom so they don't have to exit the virtual world to use it. And continues to show you around the virtual world as well as talk about parts of it that she can't currently show. She mentions the virtual brothels filled with virtual partners that can be customized to your preference, as well as the existence of illegal virtual worlds where many content laws are circumvented and broken. She also mentions how due to virtual partners and advanced artificial intelligence, people stopped copulating both in the virtual world and in the real world with other real humans, so governments around the world started rewarding people for attending augmented brothels where people copulate with strangers while wearing avatars and then leave with a bounty of virtual credits. Women are highly rewarded for giving birth to children and could choose to keep them or let them join a virtual daycare where babies and children would receive an optimized childhood in the virtual world and have their real-life needs taken care of by robots with artificial intelligence. Real-world politics and international relations are in total shambles, but world leaders don't have any real power since everybody lives their ideal lives in the virtual world, and there's little to no manpower in any nation's army. Those with the most power are the companies that have their hands fully involved in the virtual worlds and hardware, but even they cannot fully control the user base because most countries in the world have access to virtual reality, and after experiencing total freedom and the ability to be and do whatever they want, anytime a major corporation tries to control or limit anything for profit, the entire virtual population, which is most of the real world, riots. Of course, there are still rampant issues both inside and outside of virtual worlds that most people are ignoring. As you and Anne discuss the ins and outs of modern society, you see him. It's Ronald McDonald. And this time, it isn't a statue, but it's actually him. Almost as if on cue, he spots you and waves. Entranced, you begin walking towards him. Anne shouts, "Whoa!" and pulls you aside as you almost collide headfirst with someone who has their back turned to you. You look at her in confusion, since you've phased through many people on your way here, but Anne shakes her head. This is someone in augmented, meaning you would have actually ran into him. You can tell because of that small icon above his head. Now that you're looking closely, you can see a small yellow orb over the man's head, as well as over Anne's. You take off your glasses to apologize to the man, but realize he hasn't even registered your presence. You then also realize you can't even talk, so you put your glasses back on with an embarrassed expression.
For fuck's sake.
Then you remember what you were after and look around for Ronald, but he's gone, and gone with him is any desire to return to the past. You may not know how you got here, but you know now what you must do. You turn to Anne with a determined expression on your face and open your mouth. It's McTime to go, Anne. I've got a person to McFind. That's it.
Bro, what the fuck?
Okay, that was actually mostly serious, yeah.
Yeah.
I see,
thoughts.
It starts off being like it's kind of like a utopia in a way, but to me it sounds like hell.
Yeah. It's one of those utopias that, like, if you're just looking at things on the surface level, it's a utopia. But then, like, if you actually think about how fucked up everything is,
it's pretty
you're like, yeah. And there's no way, like, this whole, like, living your ideal fantasy world works out as well as it sounds, too. Like, the very nature of human being is adapting to our circumstances. So no matter how, like, satisfied you are, you're always going to look for more.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I mean, it's like,
so you're just gonna keep trying to heighten the experience, Yeah. And then if that, like, sort of behavior translates to real world too, then the real world is probably really fucked up in that universe.
Oh yeah.
Like, there's probably no policemen and people get away with crimes all the time just because, like, everybody's in virtual reality. So I will say though, this was like very like surface level world building, because like there's a lot more in-depth things you can probably expand on in this sort of universe. This is a fairly typical just like, oh yeah, VR sort of thing. But I just wanted to create a very clear distinction between this and like the sort of like Ready Player One story, because for the record, I hate that story. I don't even hate it. I don't even hate it for the story
or the world.
I don't even hate it for the concept of the story. So in fact, I don't even really fully know. I did watch the movie, but I've heard the book is like much better. But I've also heard the book isn't that good. I don't know. Anyway, but it's not even the story specifically that I hate. It's just the logic behind the conception of how virtual reality works in Ready Player One, because I think it's just dumb. Because like the way it works in Ready Player One is that they use VR treadmills in VR headsets, and I'm like, that makes zero sense. There's no way anyone would be even remotely immersed if they're all using VR treadmills and VR headsets. As somebody who's a very deep VR hobbyist, I can tell you for sure that the level of immersion you get in VR, even in the best games like Half-Life Alyx and stuff, it's like you can be immersed in the way where you like lose sense of where you are in your room, but it never fools you into actually thinking you're somewhere else. It just fools into your sense of space and stuff getting really thrown off. But I've never seen anyone ever like actually like think that they're there, like even remotely. Even the people who are like scared of heights and are like doing those like plank experiences, it's like they clearly know where they are and what the situation is. It's just the visual aspect of it that is triggering things in their brain. But it's not like they're standing there actually thinking they're gonna die. They're just like, oh, this is just making me feel nervous, even though I know I'm just in my bedroom.
Yeah.
So it's like I really do not believe that if we're talking about VR hardware in terms of where it's at today, no matter how good the graphics get, how good the games get, how good the trackers and the treadmills get, it will never get even remotely close to reality, in my opinion. I think the only hope for that is Neuralink, like actually like coding things so that your brain controls like a virtual avatar and you like experience things that happen to the virtual avatar. I think that's the only way that you're going to get that level of immersion that you see in like the classic utopia/dystopia sort of fictional thing. It's just a bone to pick I have with not just Ready Player One, but it's a very common sort of view of VR with like the whole like, oh, the headset thing, and then like you think that you're in that I think it happened in the Black Adam movie, right? Wasn't there like that person who was like in VR and they were like walking on the streets and stuff, and like they had their VR headsets on? I don't know. I just know this is a very common concept, and I always hate it when I see it, because I'm just like, nobody would do this. Nobody's gonna wear a VR headset and then walk on the street and then think that that's real. Like, that's not how that works. And this whole entire concept started with me just wanting to have somebody transported to the future, and then the thing that tips them off that they're in the future is a McRib. That is what started the entire thing.
really thought of the small ideas. Like, I'll make a story out of it. After all,
I mean, that's how stories start. But that's outrageous.
The start of the story is McRib.
Okay, Harry.
All right. All right.
Is yours serious or is yours?
Here.
It's a rhetorical question.
Yeah. What do you mean is rhetorical?
Harry's
I can be serious.
Give us a rhetorical answer. Go on.
Oh, shut your ass up. Suck my dick, you little cum twat. Yeah,
Whoa.
That was highly unnecessary.
That wasn't figurative language. That's just what you want to actually happen.
Okay, no, we're not doing this. All right.
You started this. No reason.
Yeah.
Shut your ass up. Fucking
no,
smut.
This is a podcast. Fucking what? Wait, repeat that?
Nope. Greg, you can listen back to what I said.
I'm gonna boost it by 1,000% volume.
It's just gonna be you fucking.
Yeah.
Bro,
it just peaks.
Bro just called me erotica. He said smut. That's what he said.
Did he say smut?
No.
What he said?
No, I didn't do that.
That's so good.
All right. Fuck off. The year's 2055.
Wait. That's just revenge for before we started the podcast.
He left. Okay,
Okay.
The listeners didn't see it, but before we started the podcast, I was telling a very interesting story, and then Harry cut me off to start the podcast. So
Okay,
I
you just
needed to get
lied
revenge.
to our face, but
All right.
Believe me, it was very interesting.
All right. God damn it. I hate this
I don't even remember what it was about.
I don't remember what it was, bro.
you were reminiscing about detectives of something or something.
Oh,
Mysterious
detective
something
story
club.
books or some.
Oh, yeah, we were talking about books. That's right. Yeah.
Oh, that's why I
didn't really
didn't.
pay attention because it was very interesting.
All right. The year is 2055. The Ukrainian-Russian war did not end well. Ukraine won, taking half of Russia with the assistance of the U.S., but a new threat became present. North Korea.
What?
I was hoping it would be like Georgia, like the
No.
country, just like some tiny ass country that nobody was
Wait,
ever
how does the
concerned
country
about.
become the president? I'm so confused.
What? A new threat became
Oh, a new
present.
threat
Present,
became
yeah,
present.
yeah.
Okay, I misheard that. I was like, wait,
A
what?
new threat became the president. All of North Korea.
I know.
all of North Korea campaigned in the next United States. And they won by popular vote and electoral vote.
Oh no.
All right.
Their motto was "Make North Korea America Again."
Again?
There was a lot of gaslighting involved in that campaign.
Were you the campaign head?
No.
He gave the campaign head.
Facts.
Kim Jong-dos. That's
All
a
right.
reference that literally only Harry will get.
Yeah. All right. With the sentence, oh fuck. With the assistance of mass production of China, North Korea invaded South Korea, fully conquering the land and would take over all of Asia.
I'm sorry. Wait, what was the sentence? With the insistence of
Assistance.
China? Oh, assistance. Okay.
Man, you know what? I'm not reading this shit no more.
No, just send it to Adash and have him read it.
Oh
Just
god.
kidding.
They would take all over. Okay, they'd take over all of Asia in the next. Oh, I just left that blank. I didn't actually.
This is the most amazing story I've ever read.
Harry's the sort of guy to like write a script and then he'll write like improv this or like talk about this and then he reads it and he's like, oh fuck.
What kind of dumbass would write the script?
All right. They'd take over all of Asia in the next couple of years. How did they do it? They EMP'd all of the US ships and areas somehow. This was done by creating a TikTok trend to create these small EMP devices and have the people doing the trend rush to US military bases or structures and disable them. The people would get their views. Who wrote this sentence? And the people would get their views. What?
Nothing.
He said, I wonder.
I don't know. With all of Asia under their control, the U.S. prepared to invade. Okay, under the control of the North Koreans, the U.S. prepared to invade and take the land for themselves.
Okay, that's.
But before they could do that, the North Koreans did what they wanted to do with South Korea.
Oh no.
They took all the K-pop artists and stars, they rounded them up, and said they were the cause of sin of the world, and that their sacrifice would cleanse the world of and all of its people of their sins, as long as they believed in the great Kim Jong God.
That's legit.
Kim Jong-un.
I'm down.
With this, all of the K-pop stars were crucified, and a new religion was born: Christianity with a K. They declared to cleanse the lands of the false followings of the.
Is it spelled like KRIS or is it actually just Christianity with a K?
I put it as Kristianity.
Oh my god, okay. Christ.
I don't know if that's
Christ-
Christianity
that's
with a key. That's like
Crazy.
Christanti with a K.
Well, it's pronounced differently.
Also, I just want to add, you chose the worst possible time to make TikTok the leader of your... Considering TikTok is getting banned right now.
Oh, wait, really? A word?
It's not banned yet, but a lot of states are working towards that and apparently very close.
Oh.
Oh, that's cool.
I mean, I guess. I guess the loss of freedom of speech is cool.
Well, it's TikTok. Yeah, whatever. They declared to cleanse the lands of the false followings of the great Kim Jong God and prepare for a crusade through the lands. With the information of Christianity with a K hitting Europe and the States, discord was created, and many of the useful influencers, such as models and live streamers, and great people who make life hacks videos that actually don't show you anything useful, they came together with their intellectual audience to create their own cult following. I mean, religion. Photosm. Oh, photo. God damn it!
Maybe you should read out new words that you make up just to ensure that it makes sense.
No, I did read them out. Photolism. Phosto?
Harry, see,
Photoslim. That's how I wanted it. Photoslim.
Okay.
The issue with you creating new words is that we cannot help you with that.
Yeah, true.
We just have to sit here and watch.
Okay. Where their God's teachings were written down on an iPhone and is taught through all by the great distributor Kanye West. With all the influencers and their followings taking in the teachings of Kanye, they would realize how wrong the North Koreans were, and that the K-pop artists were not the right people to cleanse the world of sin, and that person has not yet come. This sparked issue throughout the new Korean Empire, and with this, the new Holy War. This war was fought by poorly equipped Koreans, since they all still don't know how to make anything advance, and the view-hungry influencers. The influencers gathered weapons and gear by creating trends to raid U.S. Army bases. Many were lost, however, the amount of dead faithful outweighed the strength of the American Army on its own people. With this, we will look over the details and the influence gathered to defend the border and then invade the new Korean Empire. The Koreans made sure to put out as much propaganda as they could on how large and strong their military was to try and scare the Photoslim people, but in the end, they were called fake and straight.
That was actually incorrect. That's not how you pronounce that.
Greg. But in the end, they're called fake and straight because saying gay would have gotten you canceled.
Fake
and as you expected, the influencers got rolled because they don't know what they're doing. The Koreans killed each other by accident since they don't even know how to use their weapons. But ultimately, the Koreans broke through the line and the Photoslim line of the Photoslims, and they marched through California. Luckily, no one cared about California, but they invaded the U.S., and the U.S. didn't like that. So we nuked them to high hell. 2 birds with 1 stone. No more Cali, and the Koreans got screwed. In the end, the U.S. just went through and rolled the empire and took it all from themselves. This new age would be known as the Age of Freedom, where truth and justice were for few, since none of the Americans could actually tell the difference between the Koreans and the other Asians. Yeah, that's it.
Well, first takeaway is we need to get you off iFunny, Harry.
All right, well, I thought it was funny making a new religion and basically just redoing the Holy War.
I feel like this story is a little problematic.
Yeah, that's what I mean. We need to get Harry off of iFunny for a bit.
But what do you... This wasn't even based off of iFunny.
Oh,
not directly, but it has left its influence on you.
What do you... Bro, I thought making a new...
But, well, I just like how you can tell, some things about what Harry's preferences for things based on this story. Like, he doesn't like K-pop or the culture behind K-pop. He doesn't like California.
Oh, wait,
he doesn't like celebrities in TikTok.
Wait, no, that doesn't actually. Well, celebrities in TikTok, yeah, but the rest it doesn't really properly. I mean, I guess K-pop culture is pretty toxic.
I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just saying this is a very accidentally political story. Is what I'm saying. Also, very, very missed opportunity to have it called the New Korea Empire and not the New United Korean Empire.
Oh my god!
No, fuck off.
It's just one letter you were missing.
Wait, what do you mean?
It was right there.
New United Korean Empire.
Oh.
But that's really creative. I don't know if I would have thought of that either. Well, I enjoyed the story.
Yeah. I enjoyed the experience of the storytelling.
You know, I'm never doing this shit ever again.
I wasn't even being sarcastic. I enjoyed the story. I just don't know what to add.
Like I said, I'm not doing this shit ever again. I thought it was hilarious redoing the Crusades in modern times with Christianity with a K.
Yeah. I mean, it was funny. I just when Nadash gave us the topic of like your predictions for the future, I guess I should have expected Harry's would be a war story essentially.
All right.
So Harry's future is just death.
Actually.
Despair.
I think the only ideas I had was like either post-apocalyptic or this.
Yeah.
There is no hope for the
probably
future
accurate
in terms of Harry. Yeah. I can't believe I have the most optimistic view on the future.
All right, let's hear your ideas.
Okay, so I did not do a story though. I don't know how I could match those, but okay. So my only pessimistic prediction was like climate change. We just don't do anything about it. It gets really bad, and we're talking like Category 6 hurricanes like all around the world, and then like most of Southeast Asia just sinks. But like the US doesn't want all the people there, like, you know, coming over here or anything, and neither does Europe, because that's like 2 billion people. So they actually just like redline the entire area, and so people are literally just forced to stay in their country as it's sinking, and it's pretty bad. So that's the really bad prediction. Any thoughts?
That sounds exactly like a One Piece backstory.
Oh man.
It really does though. If you'd seen One Piece, you would know like all their tragedies and stuff are basically of that nature.
Like which part though?
Just like really, really fucked up things that you're just like, damn, that really sucks.
Because I can actually see it happening. Because like, I mean, a lot of Southeast Asia are just islands, so like a lot of them will sink if like sea levels rise.
Yeah.
But also, it's like those are like the most populated areas. Like I think Indonesia has a population of like 300 million or some shit, right? Like, they're all really densely populated.
There's going to be a lot of people displaced.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And like America does not want that, so like they're not gonna let any of them here. Canada might, but like the rest of Europe has like already been through this shit before with just Syria, which is like tiny compared to Southeast Asia. So like I could actually see it. I could see like them being like, nah, stay.
Yeah. Well, even if they do allow them to immigrate, it's going to be a whole issue of how you're going to now house.
Yeah, exactly. 300
millions
people.
of other people.
I mean, America is going to be already busy itself dealing with because water levels are going to rise on the edges of America too.
Exactly.
So a lot of people are going to have to.
A lot of the East Coast.
I might end up on the beach. Like the water level might rise right outside my house.
Greg's gonna send us a snap like, "Hey boys, I moved a little bit," or no, my area's got a what's it called?
My
uplift.
Yeah. My beachfront property value's gone up.
Yeah, it just like doubled in property value because I'm now a window front property, a beachfront property.
Oh no.
Also, there's like tens of thousands of people camping out on our front lawn, but you know.
Also, the basement is just gone now.
Yeah. Yeah. Global. I don't know what we're gonna do about global warming. It's one of those things that I think so many people are just kind of like just trying not to think about it because it's like we are very close to that happening and we are not really doing much to turn that around. So.
We actually are. There's plenty of scientists trying their best to like.
Yes, well, some people are. Yeah. But I think the majority of people are just ignoring. Well, thankfully, the people who are trying to do something are the ones who are smart and also have the ability to actually change things.
The people that are ignoring it, it's fine because they're too stupid to be like contributing anyway. Like realistically, the best way most people can contribute is just to die because then the carbon footprint reduces. But like the people that can actually contribute are trying, so like at least we have that going for us. And then I have one like really hyper specific prediction for the future. I don't know why I thought of this one day, but like I did, and then I just like built it out. So this is like a future prediction from like years ago, and it's really weird. So I have that, and then I also have just like a really optimistic view on how the world changes. So let's start with the really specific prediction, okay? So I'm thinking, right, that we finally figure out teleportation, which is pretty huge because that also helps with climate change and stuff, like a lot less jet fuel and stuff being used. But my thinking is, shit like this never gets figured out perfectly. So instead of just like instant teleportation anywhere, it's scuffed. And the way it works is it's just like portal teleportation. So like you have one portal on one area, another portal on the other, and you go through the portal, come out the other side, and you're good. But here's the thing. I'm thinking it's probably just going to be linked to speed. So the further the distance that you want to teleport, the faster you have to go through the portal in order to get out, right? So like say you want to go from like Charlotte to like Myrtle Beach or something, you only need to be going like 10, 15 miles per hour. So honestly, if you just run fast enough, you can just get to the beach. But like if you want to go from like LA to New York, you need like 100 miles per hour, right? You need to fucking book it through the portal. And then obviously if you're going like transatlantic flights, then you need a lot of speed. So what this would do is this would like change airports from being like airplanes wouldn't need to fly anymore, obviously. But they would still be useful because they're also really good at going really fast. So like if you need like 500 miles per hour top speed in order for the portal to reach from like New York to London, for example, the only way you're doing that is with a plane. So now like the entire plane industry is like completely changed. Yeah, I don't know. This isn't funny. This is just something I've, for some reason, given a lot of thought into in the past like year and a half. But yeah, that's my prediction.
Yeah, I like that concept. Like portals that the distance from one portal to the other. So what happens if you're going like, what if, okay, how does the exiting portal thing happen? Because you said you need to be a certain speed to get there, right? Yeah. So like, let's say you have a portal in my house and one in your house, but I go through my portal, but like way too slow, like 5 miles per hour. What happens?
You just phase through the portal.
Okay, I see.
Yeah.
Oh, so
you have to be going that fast, or it's just nothing.
Just nothing. Yeah.
It's like the whole reaction. What's it called?
I
That makes it in a way foolproof.
Yeah, exactly. It'd be really bad if something else happened and like half of you gets through. Because then I wouldn't risk running through the portal to Myrtle Beach. It's like, yeah, if you're like a mile per hour too short, you just like half your arm gets there, and the rest of you stays.
And when you get through, do you maintain the velocity that you had when you went into the... Oh, no.
Oh, God.
Because I was just thinking, like, what if I want to, like, send some noodles over to Harry, and the only way to get it to his house, I have to shoot it through a cannon? It's like, if it detracts the speed based on the distance, then when it gets to him, it will just fall there. But if it maintains the speed... Harry, you're gonna have to wear like a body armor.
I don't give a fuck. I'm gonna stand on the other end of the portal. I'm gonna catch this shit.
Well, okay, but based on the distance to speed ratio I gave, you would actually have to launch it through a cat. Like you would just need to have a fairly decent arm. But if you miss, then the noodles just splatter. So that's why like the airplane thing is necessary, right? Because like it goes off the runway, but it does also, the portal has to land back on a runway. Otherwise, you just have a plane going 500 miles per hour, just like exit through a portal and just fucking go through at 500 mph, which would be pretty bad.
You know what else this would be useful for? Yeah. You could have portal sex with somebody in the same room. God. And then when you're about to ejaculate, you could just like stop moving and then it would phase through and it wouldn't go in.
What the fuck?
Look, I'm just spitballing here, okay?
I was imagining these portals are like big ass devices with like a bunch of shit hooked up to it. But yeah,
nah, bro, it's called the PP, the penis portal.
One, you can make a small one.
If we make it miniaturized, which will happen in the future, yeah, you could have portal sex. That's
portal glory holes.
That's true.
That is awful, bro.
And you have to be going a certain velocity with your thrusts to get it to go through.
I can't believe.
Wait, so I have a question.
Actually, you gotta line that shit up perfectly, or you gonna miss.
Listen, what happens if you thrust through at enough velocity to go through, but when you pull back, you don't? Does your dick fall off?
Oh.
Maybe not such a good idea.
That would be an issue. That would be an issue.
You need the full thing to go through, or else.
Yes.
Yeah, because technically, at some point, you stop your momentum to go backwards.
Right.
Oh yeah, no.
And then it would just phase off.
Nope.
So in that case, then we can use portals for death sentences. You could behead people with it.
You know, there's a lot simpler way. Okay, sure.
But how cool would that be? And it wouldn't be gory because like the head wouldn't fall off; it would just disappear.
I hate my idea now. I was so on board for this, and now you've ruined it.
I was just thinking of what can I do to ruin this idea as fast as possible.
Oh boy,
that would be fun to explore the implications of what you could do with that, though.
Yeah, it would obviously also cause issues, but it would solve a lot because like a lot of the main drivers of climate change is just jet fuel because like airplanes are big emitters. But if you restrict it to just takeoff and landing, then you solve a lot of the issue.
And based on how the portals work, you could just solve pollution almost.
Yeah.
Like you could just have landfills just go through portals and go off the ISS and then just boom, GG's.
That would be, I didn't even think of that. That's actually really smart. Yeah, just, I also did think about like how this would work for space because obviously that's longer distances. So you would need like, you would need to purpose build like rockets that go on land, but like at fucking ridiculous speeds.
Right. Yeah, like the fastest land speed vehicle, that thing that's basically a horizontal rocket.
Yeah.
Just that.
And you'd probably need to like upgrade the speed. But yeah, actually you could have like, it wouldn't be the ISS because it's in the low Earth orbit, but you could just launch something. Like launch something that goes to the moon and we just create a landfill on the fucking moon.
Just a trash satellite. Aliens come by and they're like, what the fuck? Why is there just trash being flung off this planet constantly? What are they doing?
And the trash there would deteriorate faster because it's radiation. So it's actually genius. And then like you'd solve traffic in most cities because you just have like portals that like take you between cities because like you'd only need a car to try. Like if it's intercity travel, you wouldn't need that much speed. Right? So it's like, no matter where you live, you're probably only like, as long as you're next to a portal that goes to the downtown portal, like you're only probably like 5 minutes away from work, stuff like that.
Are portals movable?
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. These would be a really good murder weapon because like you get rid of the evidence. There's like no mess. Like you just can make someone disappear. Or you can just cut someone in half just by moving the portal fast enough to transport them, but then slow it down when it's like halfway across their body.
There would be freak accidents like that, yeah. The thing I was thinking, though, is these portals are, like, somebody needs to be in charge of, like, configuring the routes and stuff.
Yeah, I was going to say, in the public sector, I think, like, no normal person would be able to just get a portal.
Exactly.
Like, it would be, like, regulated by governments, because, like, even if someone just accidentally is, like, driving through one and they just, like, accidentally slow down, or they hit something on the other side, well, they're cut in half. Yeah. GG's. So they'd probably have, like, machines and a lot of staff just to make sure people didn't fuck up with them. But
yeah, and I think this would solve it in a way that's less because I think what led me to think of this idea is I was like, what if we just invented instant teleportation? And then I was like, the economy would fucking tank because you get rid of like millions of jobs.
Cars,
you're getting rid of cars, you're getting rid of airplanes, you're getting rid of like
all the industries
trucks
that are
and
associated
transport
with cars and
airplanes,
airplanes, which is a lot.
like you would straight that could actually just melt the Western economy. So I was like, well, how do you do it in a way that is not aids to travel 8 hours to like from Charlotte to Vancouver?
You also potentially create a society that just never exercises ever again.
True,
because there's just no need to get from one place to another.
Yeah.
I mean, we're already living somewhat in that society. We already have Amazon Prime delivery, so nobody has to go get their groceries.
Oh, bro,
we you know, like these days, yeah, it's like nowadays, like when self-driving cars start becoming a thing, kids won't have to walk back from the bus. They'll just have a car waiting for them that they just hop in and go home.
Yeah.
Like a lot of technology is going to push humanity towards laziness, which on one hand is convenient, but comes with issues.
Yeah,
we can
that's
see
a lot
America's
of the
obesity rate.
Yeah. Well, with a lot of a lot of inventions, it's just to make life more convenient, so you can do other things. Yep. Which in Americans' cases is probably eat, sleep, and shit.
Yeah. The trifecta of the human experience. And all three of us are very skilled at all of them.
I am not skilled at sleeping. Bro, my sleep mechanics are terrible.
I used to not be great at sleeping, but I think nowadays I'm pretty good at sleeping.
I mean, I actually could sleep for pretty long.
Listen. Bro, it was so bad today. I was hearing my phone go off, and I was like, I was like, wait, didn't I wake up today already? And I was like, I went back to bed. I check, it's 3 hours after my alarm. I was like, what the hell?
Homie was like, damn, I'm having a dream about me waking up. That's crazy.
Yeah. No, I did wake up because I had to turn off my alarm. But then I was like, a couple more minutes won't hurt. And they did. Because I was supposed to go shopping after I woke up. And I was like, podcast is an hour. So... Yeah, no, I am what you're describing.
It would be
Greg.
so much fucking easier to do with these. I'm just on this. I'm just thinking about this. You would no longer have to show up to any crimes you wanted, and terrorists wouldn't have to suicide bomb. Just place a portal there, just early, and then
chuck
just one day,
bomb
just chuck that shit in.
Yeah. Well, this is why I.
And then if you want to. Yeah, if you want to get in and get out, just jump through the portal, do the crime, jump out. There's so many.
This is why I was thinking it would have to be government regulated, and also it would be things on it would be designated spots. So it's very difficult to set up a portal, and it's near impossible to set up a route. You can't just go to any random portal because it's an authentication thing. Yeah, which is why I was thinking they were big and bulky. But yeah, to be fair, if the technology gets easier or better, which it always does, then that will become a problem. I didn't even think about terrorist
that is
attacks.
How it be. I think technology, just the more it advances, the more threat comes with it, but also the more potential is unlocked with it for good as well. So it's just there's a lot of up and down with it. I think it's worth the potential occasional terrorist attack if it solves a lot of our climate issues. Because I think that is maybe a little bit more of a threat than terrorists right now. Not gonna lie, I think climate change is a little scarier.
Yeah, it's
just in terms of scale and how world-ending it can be. Yeah. Well, I do want to add my version of the future is pretty dystopia-ish, but that's not what I think is gonna happen. That's just the story I wanted to write.
No, it's a good story, and it is. I didn't ask for wild future predictions, so. This one was mine. I don't know. I was like, I could see this happening, but I don't know enough about quantum physics to.
Now Harry's story.
What are you talking
Can we
about?
see that happening, boys?
No, not really.
I mean, I hope not. I don't want California to be nuked.
I don't think TikTok is gonna last another 20 years.
And I don't think the Koreans are capable of taking over South Korea.
Yeah. I don't think Kim Jong-un can get out of bed long
I don't
enough.
think that religion. I don't think the name is catchy enough.
That's also
a religion has to have a catchy. It has to have a catchy name, or else it won't catch on.
Maybe so. You're saying
Christianity with a K is not bad.
Yeah.
But the other one, I still don't remember it. All right, Dash, do you want to give any wrapping statements to this segment?
Not really. I enjoyed that. I actually really did. I probably should have just written a story too, but yeah, I like the discussion at the end. But yeah, Greg actually did come up with a serious story, and well, I enjoyed Harry's story, even if he doesn't believe me.
I told you, Ronald is serious. There's nothing funny about Ronald McDonald.
His luscious red lips.
Bro, have you seen his red lips, man? They are nutty.
Okay, Greg.
You know what I mean by nutty.
Okay.
I would portal him.
Okay.
All right, that's enough out of you.
All right, let's head to the outro segment. Okay, I always forget which one we do first. Do we do the spin or do the topic reveal first, right?
Is it? Okay.
Yeah. So, Harry.
All right, you guys got 3 choices.
I will say, I do remember we did discuss this, and I think we just forgot, but we were originally planning on, like, always doing the 3 choices.
All right, I'm bringing it back.
That was, like, the whole point is, like, we have the outro segment because we have a discussion about which topic we want to do. And then, yeah, we kind of forgot about that, but it's the thing now. And we're going to gaslight everyone into thinking it was always the thing. So
yeah, Dash's poor audio quality made it so like his first 2 just didn't come through. So we have to clip it out.
Starting now, nothing I just said registered through anyone's head, and we've always done this. All right, Harry, name your 3 topics.
So the first one was a D&D fight between Greg and a Dash. We will have you guys make your characters offline, and I'll DM. So the idea with this is you're going to make your characters actually realistic to you. So your stats, you have a limited amount of points, and you put them in as you are in real life, and you're going to make different abilities based off of things you do in your life.
Okay.
And you'd have 2 attack, 2 special, which are the specials afflict.
See, this is unfair because I'm being typecast as a bard, and bards are not solo fighters.
and so you have each of you can have 2 attacks, 2 abilities, and 1 like rejuvenation or like regenerative ability. We'll tweak the details of like cooldowns and stuff like that.
What if instead of that we did me and Greg versus you, the DM?
I like this idea better. I also don't like the idea of balancing this because I think it's not going to work.
Well, no, we don't have to balance it. It's just make sure things aren't like OD.
I think we do. I think we go full OD. I think we do this like kids do D&D, where it's just like I spawn a nuke above your head. And it's like I cut your nuke in half and suppress the explosion with my butt. Or something like that.
So that would be first one. DM you, Greg and a Dash.
Yeah, no realism, just we're all Kryptonian gods.
Me. OD.
No.
Battle.
We're all actual gods who can literally do whatever we want. So whoever wins is just purely based on imagination.
Oh, so it's like Yu-Gi-Oh! Got you.
All right. So that was the first option.
It's like, and finally, after 45 minutes of fighting, I kill you, and it's like, but I resurrect because I'm Jesus.
I'm Monster Reborn.
And it just keeps going. It's like, I have 9 lives because I'm the god of cats.
You shot me, and that activated my trap card.
So that's just an improv battle, which would be fun.
Basically.
All right. So that was the first option. The second option was we would turn back time to a certain time period, and things are going to change. So my first idea of this when I was walking up the stairs was you turn back time and you're in the 1950s, right? But you're not a dude, you're a chick. How is your life going to be looking like? But you have the ideas and memories
I'm just
of your present
writing
day,
a story of how I get domestically abused every day.
Yeah, I was going to say, this sounds like an intriguing idea, but a depressing idea.
Yeah, well, that's why I
this would be a downer episode.
From turn back time and then change something or imagining the life of how you live or all that crap. And so I was like, yeah, being a woman back then, not the greatest thing in the world.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, being a woman nowadays is not the greatest thing in the world.
Being a woman.
It's not like things are.
Let's not actually insult our only viewer.
No, not as a, no, but it's like it's not like things are fixed yet. Like it's still you still have an advantage being born as a male in this world, especially if you're not in America, because like equality between men and women is absolutely not a solved issue yet. So,
and the last one was kind of like how I think last season I talked about trying to do a whole choose your own adventure. This is like a baby version of it. So have you guys ever watched Recreo episodes on YouTube? So they basically do baby D&D in a way where each episode is not actual D&D, but they base it off of the events and stuff off of either a certain universe. So either it's from an anime show or a book or something.
Are allowed to do that?
They do it.
I think you are. I've seen
Yeah.
D&D shows hosted based in universes
but you know,
of
it's
other
basically
things,
it's like,
so.
you know, you're now
I think the trick,
in My
I think
Hero
the trick
Academia
is
now, and blah, blah, blah,
you
stuff like
are
that.
in that universe, but you don't use any named characters, and you don't call it the exact name of what it is, but it's very
Sun
obviously
battles.
that thing. So we wouldn't be like in Star. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. No, I think they've actually straight up name dropped some of the stuff, but
I don't think you're supposed to do that.
I don't know. But I was like, we could decide a universe.
Copyright issues
Because I was like, the main thing with being choosing a universe we're all, you know, at least versed in, and that's actually entertaining to be in.
Avatar?
Yeah. So if we did it, like, you know, what universe would we do?
Or Percy.
It's been so long since I read Percy Jackson. I mean,
that's
Jersey
me too.
backpacks.
When I did that deep dive on Percy Jackson while we were doing the Reddit
stories
episode, I was like, I don't remember any of this
Yeah,
happening, bro. I don't remember like any of it. Like I recall it now, but like holy shit, there's a lot of
The
stuff.
only thing I distinctly
Yeah.
remember in that series that's like not important was the part of the first book where like the demon dude has like the thing that like stretches people or cuts off their limbs so they're exactly 6 foot, and I was like, fucking hell.
Oh yeah.
Oh, what?
That traumatized me. So I remember that.
that is pretty messed up. Yeah.
What? All right, but because
I don't know.
because eventually I think I will do the actual choose your own adventure, and when I write it out, it's either going to be hilarious.
I think we should all do one, like all have our own episode where we do something like that.
Yeah. And I feel like I want to write it, be like, yo, this is hilarious, fuck. And I'm going to come on a podcast and say, I'm like, yo, this is retarded.
But hey, look, that's the charm though, isn't it? Like,
is it charm?
Yes.
Is that what you guys want to call it?
Yeah, I would say so. Like, I found your eulogy really funny because I think it was just like the delivery.
Okay, well, I'm glad you enjoyed it.
I didn't enjoy the material. Like, I don't want to be bussy boy, but like, at the same time, it was an enjoyable experience to be in. Okay, well, anyway, yes, we are going with the first option, the D&D option, where Harry's the DM and me and Adash are heightened versions of ourselves. So that's what we're doing. And then Adash is the guy for next week for the intro, so let's go ahead and spin that wheel. Your options are everything trivia, crazy news, or this week on Reddit. Honestly, all things that you're kind of specialized in, except for maybe crazy news, but everything trivia, that's literally like your thing.
Oh yeah. The amount of trivias we've had.
So with everything trivia, it's just I just come up with trivia questions for you guys, right?
Yeah, and it could be about like literally anything, like any like super far out thing that we would never have known or thought about.
Only other question I have is, does it, like, even if it is anything, like, does it have to focus on one topic, or can I bounce between topics?
It's all you. It's everything
All
trivia.
right.
It can be everything too.
Say less.
This is either going to be a whole bunch of Greg and I going, bro, what the fuck is this shit?
I think I do a good job of coming up with questions that you have a chance at answering.
Oh yeah. Or it'd be like Greg and I saying like, you know, I feel like I should know this, but I don't. And then he's gonna reveal it, and we're like, yeah, damn it, I should have known that.
There's a fine line between too easy and too difficult.
Okay, cool. Well, that is all then. Do you guys have any departing words? Okay, let's go. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us today on Derailed. We run the same day and time every week, 12 a.m. Eastern on Fridays. You can find us on YouTube at youtube.com/@thederailedpodcast and as Derailed on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you go to get your podcasts. Thank you all for accompanying us on this journey, and we hope to see you again next week. Bye-bye.
Deuces.
No. Incorrect.